Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review, we're going to be looking at the Legacy Voyager class Jhiaxus figure. What we're going to do with this video then, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We're then going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes. That'll help you decide how you want to display him. For what it's worth, even though they're nothing alike at all and in completely different leagues, we're going to do a comparison with him. And I think this was the first ever Jhiaxus figure released. That was, of course, him from the Thrilling 30 toy line. And it's not going to be a fair contest at all with this. So what we can also do is do some comparisons, or I suppose some display, see how he displays with some of the other figures that have been released in the Legacy toy line already. So quite a bit to get through with this video today then, and as I start to pack these away, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to this channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. So we've got the windowless box still, we've got, that's amazing, that is the Decepticon logo from Generation 2, lovely little bit of detail there. We'll have a look at that in more detail in a second. Funnily enough, I want to just appreciate the artwork on the box. We've obviously got the alternate mode on the front because we've got the robot behind there. And then on the side, we've got the full bot there. And of course, we've got the zoomed in of the chest and head sculpt, I suppose, the bust of the main character there. And these boxes are stunning. And that, of course, was Legacy Wave 1's artwork. There's not much more to say. I love the boxes. I can't wait to get this figure out, to be honest. I'm really excited about him. He does feel really heavy and quite weighty. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what it's like. Now, in all honesty, the G2 figures, I haven't got a great amount of knowledge of them. I know pretty much most of them, etc, etc. But especially the comics, if I must confess, it's a bit of my weak area. I don't really know much about him as part of a comic character. All I know is he's just very, very good. He's a very popular character. And his name, funnily enough, his name's brilliant. He's called Jhiaxus, and that's because the UK writer, Simon Furman, who did so many of the great comics, etc. It's a play on words because it was basically like Jhiaxus, because they were being told that they were going to axe the comics, stop the comics completely. So it's like Jhiaxus. And there you go, whether you knew that or not, there's a bit of trivia for you. But here he is inside the packaging. He looks great. The head sculpt is there. We've got a huge pistol there, a small pistol there. Nothing else is visible at all. So what I need to do then is set him free from there and come straight back to you. Okay, so as you can see, I've set him free. So what we're going to do with the rest of the video, then we're going to do some first impressions right now. Then we'll look at him in his alternate mode before coming back again in robot mode to do some of the displays and comparisons. Now, again, I mentioned this when I held him in the packaging and in hand as well. He does feel quite weighty. He does feel quite robust. And he's quite big. He's got to be really big for a Voyager class figure. Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick check now. I've obviously got Blitzwing there, who's of course leader class. Now, I know it's probably due to the accessories that makes Blitzwing leader class. But as you can see already, Jhiaxus is actually bigger than Blitzwing, which is very interesting. The figure itself is great though. We've got lovely detail on that head sculpt there. It has got full rotation. It'll bob up and down a little bit as well by the looks of that. Shoulders, again, full articulation all the way around, out to the sides. You've got a waist swivel. Now, this might not even be how he fully displays in robot mode. I've just completely set him free from the packaging. And as I said, this is just first impressions. You've actually got openable. Wow, you don't normally get these, I don't think, on Voyager class figures anyway. And it still rotates at the wrist. Bicep flexion, shoulder swivel as well underneath. Hips, side, front. Oh, the whole skirt sort of moves there. I'm quite surprised by all of this, as you can tell. Knee bend, ankle tilt and rock, loads of articulation, and in fact loads of great detail. Just look at that inside there. It looks very, very good, really good. That's really sort of shining. I've already pointed out the lovely Decepticon G2 logo there. The silver on it is brilliant. It really is popping. I imagine these will fold out. Yep, they will do, but we'll have a look at that more probably in the alternate mode. Just first impressions then. Yeah, impressed. He feels heavy, he feels robust, he feels sturdy. That's another good word for it. And his colour scheme is exactly, again, the images that I've seen of him in the G2 comics. So very impressed. Right, we're going to come back with him and he's going to be in his alternate mode. Okay, then we're back, and as you can see, he's in his alternate mode. And a couple of quick apologies. One, for no transformation process on this video. That's for a couple of reasons. One is to keep the main length of the video down, and the main and second reason is because I don't want to spoil it for people who don't want to see it. I know that myself especially, sometimes it's great, you know, just getting that transformer for the first time and working out that, I suppose, unique puzzle as to what it is. However, if you do want to watch it, it is of course separately uploaded. And the second mini apology is that I got mixed up. The Thrilling 30 version of Jhiaxus wasn't the first version. There was one, I think, from RID as well, but I haven't got that one, unfortunately. Anyway, as you can see, this is the stunning alternate Cybertronian ship mode for him. And if the only thing that I can say negative about this is when I flip it over, you'll see we've got a big gap here. Now you can also see something there. This is the secret part that I mentioned and I've alluded to. What this is I've managed to take the front end of the sensor scope off, and if this is on, obviously this wouldn't be able to go all the way in. It sort of sits about there, but you can actually take it off, which gives you a different look in robot mode, which I will show you in a second. You can then also attach this in the roof if you want, give it a slightly different look, but I'll show you other things that you can do with that in a second. I say secret because it's not in the instructions. You've got the other bits we're going to see in a second when we go back to robot mode, how to attach his weapons, etc. But it doesn't, again, it brings no attention to taking the sensor scope part off at all. Right, now I've mentioned already that this is quite a big figure for a Voyager class. So that is obviously Orion Pax. I know he's quite a smallish figure. That is only a deluxe. Now this is a custom job from my good friend Input. This was his nacelle, which is of course a Voyager class, I suppose, yeah, Tetrajet. That's what I was thinking. I was going to say Seeker, but it's a Tetrajet. And you can see just how much bigger it is compared to that as well. So yeah, nice big. That is the only sort of negative. I suppose you can see on the packaging here, we are supposed to attach the gun like, I pulled it down here, I was going to keep it out of the way, like so, which gives it another bit of a dimension. But if you wanted to cover up the gap, there's no reason why you couldn't turn it round and have it sort of like that. Still doesn't look too great, but then if you've got that there, then you can then attach the sensor scope and you can attach the gun to the side as well. Now I'm calling it a sensor scope, and that's pretty much because I'm sure that's what it is, because if you take the normal gun like so, and if you attach it into this port at the back, I mean, that's a perfect fit, isn't it? It's got to be for that. I'd love to find that an official reason, but we're digressing on this particular mode. There's not much more to say really. As you can see, I just need to, I suppose, bring attention again at how good this actually looks. There's no paint bleeds. It just looks stunning. It really does, like loads of wires and couplings all in. At the moment, I'm crossing my fingers. There's, of course, no yellowing here at all. And again, this isn't like it isn't yellow, but it is. I know that sounds really silly and contradictory. It's more like a gold, or definitely a metallic yellow, rather than just your standard sort of yellow. I mean, I suppose like Blitzwing's head there, that's yellow. And compared to that, there's a bit of a difference, isn't there? This just looks and feels that much better quality. I've mentioned about the weight, etc. I think I'm going to, as I say, going on about superlatives for how good I think this particular version is. Let's have a look at him for the final time in his robot mode, and then have a look at how we can see him with and without this bit popping up on his shoulder. So then, back for the final time with him in his robot mode, and I've just popped this back on. I'm going to again show you how to take it off in a second and how you can, of course, move it around. But as we just saw in the instructions, there's obviously ways that we can store the weapons at the back. And again, you can, I suppose, combine them with each other as well if you wanted to. You can put this on there and store the two together. They'd be tucked away nicely at the back, but I don't know why you want to do that. When you've got him in robot mode, you definitely want to be putting the weapons in both of his hands. Now, the one thing that I will say that I suppose is a mini issue, but it's not too bad, is that during the transformation process, sometimes the head does tend to get loose. It is on like a ball and socket, and there's one part, if I sort of, you'll see it now. See how that's gone really loose? And then that's because you've got to click it right onto the ball and socket. It does move around, and that could just happen during transformation process. It's nothing too detrimental. It will just, of course, pop straight back on. That makes him look so much better. Let's have a quick look how they've posed him there. Pretty much the same, but in, of course, a different stance. Now, let's have a look at this then. So what we can do is we can take it is quite awkward, and for the first time it is very awkward to take off. So there again, I'm saying that this is pretty much a sensor scope, so it looks like now when he's got it out in front of him, he could be looking through there to see exactly what is happening. But what this means is, of course, that doesn't look too good with it sitting there being empty. So what you can do, and this also makes it better for the other transformation process, so we're going to separate the back and the front. And if you separate the front very carefully at the bottom here, he says, now what you can do is you can tuck this completely in, out of the way, and then it gives the whole figure, I suppose, another different look, because it doesn't have to be there on the top of his shoulder. And to be honest, I don't really know which looks better. I think perhaps the fact that he hasn't got this scope there now maybe makes him look that little bit more menacing. You can really see the detail in his green eyes. What I mean by that is your attention isn't drawn to this scope that is there, so you can see that that's the ball and socket under there that I was on about that does tend to get loose, and that's better. Let's just click that back into position as well. I'm thinking I might leave mine without it actually and keep it on the gun. So let's do some actual, I suppose, more comparisons. Now we'll do this one again very quickly, and I did get it wrong. As I say, this was his second release, and this, funnily enough, was obviously just a redeco and retool of the Armada Starscream from the same toy line, not of course the original Armada Starscream. But what I was saying is that he is a big Voyager, and I know he's got a very gappy nose cone, but if you stand him next to Blitzwing, and I know that Blitzwing, you're paying for them crazy big red mitts and, you know, the articulation and the detail on it, but size wise, as you can see, he is taller. He is quite a bit, not quite a bit, well, he is, yes, he is definitely taller. He's not as thick, he's not as robust. He towers over some of these deluxe, I suppose, size figures that we've been having recently, which is good. And I think that they should do that, because obviously you are paying a different price point. So it's always better when you feel that you're getting that a little bit more for your money. There he is, of course, over a Core Class Shockwave. And that's probably one of the biggest, but only due to the accessories, deluxe figures we've had out in the Legacy toy line. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that you guys can tell that I'm impressed with this guy. He does look great. I love his name. I love the whole concept of him. And it's actually made me really want to skip the comics that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading G1 again and jump straight to G2 just to see more about him. Anyway, let me know what you think about him. I think he's fantastic. Did you already know about the scope part? If you did, do you know if it is for the gun, or, you know, again, we are all just speculating as to what it's for. It'd be great to find out absolutely officially what it's for. In the meantime, this was the review, and again, definitely very, very good figure of Legacy Wave 2 Voyager class Jhiaxus. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.